Elementary, my dear apple bite. Just purely elementary. Booyah. Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite, Rafael Tavares, talking to you straight from our show here, The Written Writ. A show where you and I and you, take a journey together to become better writers. You may be asking yourself, Ralph, what's Maximus T. Jones? Well, you see, last week, or prior week, or the previous episode, or whichever way you want to see it, or an episode you need to go find. How about that? Well, then I was talking about my character, Maximus T. Jones, from the first thing I wrote about, or the first character, or the first book I tried to write, where it was a detective novel, story, whatever it is you want to call it. And you might probably be wondering, why a detective story, Ralph? Well, you see, when I was a child, I was able to get engrossed and jump into the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Elementary, my dear Watson. Yes, and I was enamored with my fellow detective, Mr. Holmes. I loved his ability to take the situation and analyze and figure out what was going on. And from that moment on, I just love detectives. You take that with me watching some Magnum PI when I was a child. I have to admit, love my Magnum PI. Great show. I enjoyed it very much. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Never mind the fact that I look like him right now. Never mind. Well, you see, so I took my character here, Maximus T. Jones, and if you're going to ask me about the name, I just like the way the name sounds, Maximus T. Jones. Well, maybe there's a little thing in there because Maximus is a very powerful name, and it means important power. I'll let you know. But my character here, Maximus T. Jones, I was like, hey, well, I'll make him a detective. And after watching some Magnum PI, I had this whole little backstory. It was very, very, very Magnum PI. And I broke him down. So, what we're going to do this week is I'm going to help you out. I'm going to go through my process of how I go through my writing. Interesting, right? Well, you see, first of all, you start off with your character. Some people don't. Some people just start off with a story. But let's start off this way. You can go either way. We have our character here, Maximus T. Jones. Now we need to figure out who is Maximus T. Jones. Well, we can make him a military guy or ex-military. See what I mean about spelling? Uh, Not my favorite person spelling. We and spelling are not friends. Not at all. As both Kadma and Myra would tell you. All that in grammar. So, we take our friend Maximus T. Jones. Now he's ex-military. And that gives him a particular set of skills. You see the joke there? Never mind. Well, he has a particular set of skills because he's ex-military. Now we have a pretty good detective who is ex-military. Pretty much my Maximus is a private investigator, a PI. Of course, you can have him be in the police force. Still be a cop. And be ex-military. Or you can have him be an ex-cop who has become a private investigator for whatever particular reason he has become that. Or maybe this is all just lineage. He was, or he is, or he was, one or the other, a police officer like his father before him and his father before him. Keep up with me, people. Alright, so now you have your who. It's all a little mixed and jumbled here, but you take and choose what you want. You make this character up into who it is that you want to work with. You have Maximus T. Jones, Maybe he was on the police force, an ex-cop, ex-military. He's military because his father was, or he's ex-cop, he's a cop because his father was. There you go. You have your character. And you have a lot to play with here. And answering the question, who, gives you a lot to write. You see where I'm going with this? This is the breakdown. The breakdown will help you write your story. And that's very important. Because sometimes what happens is you start to write your story and you get stuck, or you get writer's block. If you can break down who your character is, it actually might give you other things to write about from the character, or a way to show people who your character is. And of course, my character, Maximus T. Jones, the original one, was ex-military who became a PI. Of course, that's because, again, I was watching Magnum PI. Well, all right. So now for our next thing. Now, as we can see by the board that has magically changed into Y. Dun dun da. Well, now we want to know why. And with all these questions, they can be on many different levels. It could be, why are you writing the story? Metaphysical. It could be, why is your character doing what he's doing? Now, if we break it down into why your character's doing what he's doing, we can say that maybe he just wants to help people. Maybe, I don't know, he's not in the military, or he's not he's not a cop anymore because he has a problem with authority. There we go. Now we got a couple of whys here. Why is he doing it? Because he wants to help people. Why isn't he a cop anymore? Because he has a problem with authority. Now we break down the why, and it gives you somewhere else to go. You have a bigger picture of what you're doing. Again, you can write from where point you want to write to, but this actually helps you break everything down. It's good to sit down and see where you are going, see what's going on, see who your character is, see why you are doing what you're doing. And as you can see by the board behind me that has magically changed again, it's time for when. When does your story take place? Is it now in present times? Is it in the past? Each one gives you a different way to go and different problems that you have to solve. If it's now, it's kind of simple. You are in the current time. Things are a little more, I guess, clean. But if you are working with the past, then you need to figure out, how far in the past are you? Are you in the recent past? Are you long ago? In a galaxy far, far away. Never mind. So you have to figure out whether you are in the recent past or long ago. Now, if you're doing recent past, again, it's still kind of simple. You just have to remember and do your research to see, where you're going to put the character. Are you going to put him in the 40s? Are you going to put him in the 50s? Are you going to put him in the 60s? Where exactly are you going to put him? I actually love the pulp detective. I lose more tops that way. And I have an affinity for these guys. I love the setting. I love the character. I love that whole feel with the hat and the suit. I love that type of private investigator, detective. The G-man, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. I love this era, and when I write and when I think about Max, I usually think about this era. I do know that his story is more in modern times, but if I can get away with it, I will put him in this setting. And I'll probably try to emulate the style of the pulp fiction, the pulp detective. If you're gonna make this a long ago detective type story, then you have a lot of research to do. You have to figure out how your character is a detective or a private investigator, or why he is what he's doing. Is he on the police force? Is he just having kind of a hobby where he tries to solve crime from place to place? Maybe he's a sheriff. Maybe he is, but you need to do your research. Now you have a lot of research to do in figuring out how you're going to make this a detective story in a long ago time. Of course, as we both know, Sherlock Holmes, set in the 1800s, is a great private investigative detective who helps the police out all the time. It is doable. It just means that you will have to do your research. Very, very important as a writer is research, especially when you're writing about something that you don't know too much about. And I'll get to that in our next piece. What could that be? As you can see by the board behind me and its magical ability to change into other things. Amazing, isn't it? Well, we are going to say where. Where is this story happening? Where is it taking place? My suggestion to you is this. Take your story and place it somewhere that you know about. New York City. That's where I'm from. New York City. If I am writing, now I can write to you about what is going on in the neighborhood. I can talk about it as if I'm there, because I'm there. It's important. Your location is like another character in your book. So it's very important that you know a little bit about what location you are choosing. That's why I suggest that you choose a location you know about. If you do not know your location, what I was just saying before, or a short minute ago, about research comes in handy. You should research, again, you should research where you're placing the story. What is the location? And if this is taking place in a time long ago or in the past, you need to realize that your location will be different in that time period. Or if you're doing this in the future, your location will be definitely different, but you have a little more leeway because you can change things around. Speaking of which, you can take it and put it in your New York City, which means that you have a little bit to play with. But just realize that some people get kind of funny when you're doing a story and it's supposed to be in New York, and New York doesn't seem like New York, or whatever location you're using doesn't seem like whatever location you are using. This is very important. Again, I can't say it enough. Do your research. Research is so important when it comes to location because it will take some people out of the story. Yes, that seems about right. And now you're probably asking yourself, where's Ralph going with this? Aha, let's see. And abracadabra, mocha or alakazam, or whatever magical word you want to use, and the board behind me is different again. What? Now, I took this as, what is the story about? What is our detective solving? What is it, a missing person? Is it stolen property or missing property? Is it wrongly accused and he's trying to solve the crime and figure out who it is that did it? Is it just a mystery? A regular darn old mystery where he's trying to figure out. Did I spell that right? That's probably what he's trying to figure out. Where he's trying to figure out what is going on. Now, you know, Maxie has a lot to do here. But see, you're asking yourself the question, what? And we are coming up with all these different things that the character can be doing. Another question to ask is how. And in this type of setting and what I have here, I haven't figured out the how. Maybe I just don't know what it is right now, or it just doesn't pertain to everything. But you need to ask yourself the questions anyway, because sometimes you will come with some kind of answer. So what I'm thinking is, what's the story? What's going on? Why is he doing what he's doing? As a private investigator, what is it that he's doing? As for how, like I said, maybe I just need to figure out how I'm going to write the story, or how some part of the story is the way it is. Sometimes the questions will work for you, or maybe you'll figure out what's going on, but you need to make sure to ask yourself the question. That's what's very important here. Asking yourself these questions. At least for me, this is my process. I'll sit down. If my story is not too clear and I just want to know what's going on and how am I going to continue writing. There you go. How am I going to continue writing? I break it all down. This is my writer's process. This is my thought process. I'm not going to say I do this all the time, because sometimes the stories are just there in my head and they need to come out and pour themselves onto some paper or computer or whatever it is that's in front of me at the moment. Yes. And you haven't written anything until you try to write it on toilet paper while you are thinking. Let's go with that. Yep, that's pretty much it. That is my writer's process. That's how I break things down when I need to break things down, and I need to figure out how I'm going to write what I'm going to write. I hope this has helped you guys out, and I hope you see what I'm talking about, and I hope that I was able to explain my writer's process a little better, and that you guys can use this in order to get your writing writ. Okay. So this is where we're going with this. Aha, writer's prompt. You're probably asking yourself, well, Ralph, there's nothing there. Remember, the definition of a writer's prompt is an exercise, a tool we use to get ourselves writing. And here we are, an exercise, a tool we're using to get ourselves writing. Who, why, when, where, what, and how. You are going to answer these questions about whatever creation it is you want to create and share with us. Who, why, when, where, what, and how. And what you're going to do is you're going to give me a little snippet of this story, a small piece, whether it be the first opening paragraph, a middle section, whatever you want to write, that is what you're going to do. You're going to take all these questions, answer them, and then you're going to take what you have and you're going to give us, or give yourself, a small piece of that story. Got it? Let's make it a little more complicated. The word of the week is extirpate. Just to help you out there, the definition to extirpate is to destroy or wipe out completely. Yeah, I know, I'm a dark person. Just like the word. Sounds so cool. Extirpate. If you guys want to do your own word of the day type of thing, check out there. There's a bunch of apps that actually do word of the day for you, and each day gives you a new and different word that you need to use. Either you use it in your everyday conversation or you use it in your writing. Either way, check out and see which app works for you. Or you can go to the Webster site and they have a word of the day every day. Yeah, Webster Dictionary, you got to find out the definition to something. You're there already, so check out what the word of the day is. Hey, it's that simple. But this is the writer's prompt for this week, and I hope that you guys really get down and do this and break down what it is that you are doing and what it is that you are writing. For me, this writer's process has helped me out considerable number of times, more than I care to admit, and I find this an interesting way of explaining the writer's process. It's not the complete writer's process, It's kind of a mystery sometimes what the writer's process really is, and it's hard to explain. I went on my journey to become a writer, and I found that the answers I was seeking weren't out there. So I went out and tried to figure them out myself. It's not that what people were giving me wasn't of use to me, it's just that it wasn't what I wanted to hear. I wanted to understand how a person writes, what it is that gets you writing. What do you do when you have a blank piece of paper staring you in the eye and it's just trying to go, yeah, what you gonna do about it? And you're probably asking yourself, well, Ralph, what's all this have to do with mythology? Well, this is your mythology. This is how things are in your world. Do you understand that? It is your word. You are creating this. It is your mythology. Mythology isn't just about gods and goddesses and so on and so forth. It's about story. Remember, all mythology is usually based on some kind of truth or some story. And that's what you have. And if you use this, or if you figure out something on your own, even better. What you need to do is lay down your skeleton, lay down your foundation, so that you can build from there upward. And the important thing is to ask yourself the questions, because these questions, or the answer to these questions, might help you in what you're doing. I hope I have been able to clarify some things here, and with that, I shall say, booyah. Get it? Booyah. Last week, previous episode. Oh well. This is your Apple Bite, Rafael Tavares, signing off. Well, Apple Bites, that's our show for the week, and I'm gonna break this whole thing down for you to make it much, much simpler. Take a bite of the apple and subscribe because you know you want to. Come on, take a bite. Give us that thumbs up because you know you liked it. And that comment section down there below, share your story or tell us what you'd like to see. Aha! You understand this method of my madness we're getting to? And of course, the previous episode, there it is, all sexy and whatnot, and me doing some crazy writing thing. Press it, watch it, enjoy. You're welcome. With that, I'll say, this is your Apple Bite, Rafael Tavares, signing off.